It's a common sense recap of the big stories. It's Cats and Cosby on 77 WABC.
Let's go to Milwaukee, and let's go to Rita Cosby, and I understand you have Congressman Turner there?
Yes, I do. And, John, here we are live at the Republican National Convention in Milwaukee. And joining me is none other than the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, Mike Turner. I can't think of a better person to be talking to than you today, Mr. Chairman, here at the RNC. Of course, intelligence is the big deal. You guys just got briefed a little bit ago. I'm not going to ask you to reveal, but I will ask you about some of the reports that are out there tonight about the shooter. That apparently the guy who tried to kill President Trump just a few days ago, 30 minutes before, according to a news report, was seen with a rangefinder, suspicious. They took a picture of the guy, and then he gets to take a shot on our President of the United States. Your thought, Mr. Chairman?
Well, the information that we're learning at this time is absolutely outrageous. The failures of security, all of which were obvious, placing Donald Trump at risk, resulting in him getting shot. When you also factor in that of the known, existing, and continuous threat from Iran and its proxies and terrorist groups and organizations that have come across this open border as a result of Biden's policies that are also a threat to President Trump, it is just unfathomable and really totally a miracle that Donald Trump survived.
Yeah, it is incredible. And what is going to happen with the Secret Service director? You've called for her to resign, correct? Just a few minutes ago, I believe. The
Speaker's called for resign. I've joined with him. This is clearly she has to leave in order to be able to redo the organization and its security posture. But I've also called for, we need an independent assessment right now of the Secret Service's plans and processes, its protocols, as it protects both former President Donald Trump and President Biden, because clearly they're failing in every area.
Yeah, they clearly are failing. And what do you make of the fact that so far no one has been held accountable? And I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I feel like that has been par for the course with this administration. The border, nobody's been held accountable. Afghanistan withdrawal, no one held accountable. I'm sure we're going to hear a lot about it tonight here at the RNC. But your reaction, do you have any confidence that there will be some accountability coming from this White House?
No, we're going to have to change who the president is and who's in the White House. I've said that Donald Trump can stand on that stage and say if they can't protect me, they can't protect this country, and if they can't protect this country, they can't protect you. They need him to be able to make America safe again. Director Wray of the FBI has publicly stated that there are people in this country that have crossed the border that have affiliations with international terrorist groups and organizations that pose a risk, highest level, he says, since 9/11, for a terrorist attack in the United States. And certainly we know, because they have said it publicly, that Donald Trump, his former cabinet members, are all at risk of being targeted as a result of the killing of Soleimani. This is unexplainable, and it's outrageous.
It is outrageous. I have to ask you, you brought up Soleimani, of course, the targeting. You have now a clear threat from the Iranian regime. That's an act of war if something were to happen, clearly. I mean, if there was a clear... What information do you have about how significant this threat is? Because this was supposed to be beefed up security at the Secret Service as a result of that. I mean, I can't imagine what non-beefed up security looks like, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, well, in our briefing, I asked that Director Wray, he has already publicly stated of this threat from Iran, that it was existing, continuous, and known, and that it went directly to a threat to the former president, to Donald Trump. And I asked him, why wouldn't that already have been baked in to the security posture there? And he agrees. It absolutely, it's unthinkable that of the condition that the Secret Service has degraded that placed the president at risk.
Yeah, it is absolutely astounding. By the way, we also have with us here Ben Carson. Dr. Ben Carson just joined us, who is here, of course, former HUD secretary, incredible neurosurgeon. Dr. Carson, what an honor. I'm so glad you are here live at the RNC, Cats and Cosby. John is back in New York. We also have Judge Richard Weinberg, Rudy Washington, and, of course, you see by my side the great chairman of the House Intel Committee, Mike Turner. Secretary Carson, first of all, your reaction to what we are talking about with this major security breakdown.
Well, obviously it's very worrisome, Rita. If one of the top security agencies in this country cannot do basic surveillance of an area and keep somebody within easy sniper range under control, under surveillance, and when they knew this a half an hour before the first shot, why didn't they immediately secure the president? Wouldn't that be the logical thing? A third grader would know that. I don't understand it, quite frankly. Can they be that inept, or is there something more sinister going on?
Yeah, can we rule out, and I'm not going to have you violate your, at this point, does it look like this man acted alone, that it was just a lone kind of crazy guy inspired? Do we have anything to indicate?
We don't. I mean, at this time, there's no indication that it's broader, but at the same time, the investigation's ongoing, so we don't know where it will lead. But I will tell you this to Dr. Ben Carson's statement. The fact that the former president was allowed to take that stage with what they knew already was occurring and what had been reported both to the police and the Secret Service, it is just astounding and clearly, rise to the level of having actively put his life at risk, which we all saw.
Dr. Carson, what's amazing, too, some of the other details, and you know this all too well, Chairman Turner, that we are also hearing that the parents of this guy called up the police and said, my son's missing, we're worried. Then we're hearing again about the 30 minutes beforehand. We know on the roof today that they found a cell phone and they found a detonator. There were explosive materials in the car, in the house. I mean, the writing was everywhere. There needs to be some accountability, Dr. Carson.
There always seems to be all this evidence that comes up after these incidents that could have been utilized in a much more effective way. And it tells us that we really need an overhaul of some of our security measures and some of our systems. And that's not going to happen, as Chairman Turner said, until you change the leadership at the top. You need somebody who really is dedicated to cleaning the thing up and making it efficient. This is the United States of America. We can put man on the moon, but we can't protect the president in an open field. Give me a break.
Yeah, absolutely. Rudy Washington, I understand the former deputy mayor of New York has a question for you.
Yes, Congressman, I know it's not under the purview of the federal government, but the local police officer that went up the side of the building and had this guy turn his rifle on him, I mean, why didn't he just let off a round? If he had let off a round in the air, the snipers would have taken this guy right out. Have you guys questioned him?
Yeah, so we're going to get all the details of that. I mean, I've certainly heard the reports also. And it's very, very disturbing that so many times that he was engaged or identified and nothing was done. And it could have resulted in the death of Donald Trump. Now, there is intended to be a hearing next week at the Oversight Committee, of which I'm a member.
She's being subpoenaed, right? The director.
Yes, the director has been subpoenaed.
Because she would not come voluntarily, is my understanding.
Right, and I can't believe that she would violate that subpoena at this time, knowing how just critical this issue is to our country. I mean, the need for Congress to provide oversight where the Secret Service is failing fairly clearly, even in their review in this matter.
Yeah, it's astounding. By the way, I also want to switch gears with both of you guys. Some other big breaking news as we are here live at the Republican National Convention. This is for you, Dr. Carson. President Biden is saying medical condition could prompt him to drop out if doctors came to me. That is what the president is saying. It's sort of symbolizing. It comes as there are polls out there that say that 70% of Americans want him to drop out. Your thoughts as one of the top neurosurgeons in the world?
Well, they know that there's a problem. That's the reason that they won't subject him to a cognitive exam. These things can be ironed out in a matter of minutes. We can find out pretty quickly whether he's capable or not. He obviously is not capable, and they're obviously hiding it. And that's a bigger problem, because that means that they are willing to sacrifice the safety of the nation. This man has access to the nuclear codes. He's in charge of our military. He's responsible for the safety of the people. You know, he has completely opened our southern border, let all kind of people in here. If the terrorists aren't taking advantage of that, they're not very good terrorists.
Yeah, and which is really frightening. And you talk about the border, Dr. Carson. Chairman Turner, my goodness, you know how vulnerable we are. I can't even imagine the intel reports that you see all the time. How vulnerable are we right now? And that's why I think many Americans are cheering loudly for the Republican Party, because they're talking about protecting our homeland. They're talking about protecting our homes. I think that's part of the reason you're skyrocketing in the polls.
So, I mean, the FBI director, Director Wray, has openly and publicly stated that there are individuals who have come across the southern border who are in the United States currently, who are affiliated with terrorist groups and organizations, including the proxies from Iran that are here, that are placing Americans at risk. He has said we're at the highest threat level since 9/11.
Yeah, absolutely. And by the way, guys, I just want to thank both of you real quick before we go. Tonight is going to be a big night. We're going to hear from J.D. Vance. It's his first speech since he has been picked as the running mate. Dr. Carson, your thoughts of tonight, and also seeing President Trump. When he walked in the hall, I had tears in my eyes.
Well, it was really quite an emotional thing, because he symbolizes resilience. And this is the American spirit, the can-do attitude. We're not going to let this get us down, and he symbolizes that. And this is so much what we need right now. And I think J.D. Vance tonight will amplify that same attitude, talk about things that are logical and that make sense, and not concentrate on personalities of your political opponents. We need to get to that place in this country, and the media needs to remind either side, when they deviate from that and they start talking about people rather than policies, they need to be called out on it.
By the way, here's a great American story, too, of course, coming from rags to riches. And he reminds me of another guy I know, Dr. Ben Carson, who had a similar incredible story. Chairman Turner, your thoughts of how important tonight before we let you guys go?
It's very important, but the greatest part is we're going to have a fellow Ohioan standing there proudly representing our state.
Yeah, good choice for VP?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, guys, both of you, thank you. What an honor to have both of you here. It's an action-packed with that. We have the whole row waiting to see you guys. We are sending it back to you.
Rita, I just want to point out to Dr. Ben Carson, I watched his talk last night, and on a scale of 1 to 10, Dr. Carson, you were an 11.
Wow. And if you saw his smile, you'd say 13.
Thank you, John.
What a blessing to have both of you guys. Dr. Carson, thank you. And thank Chairman Mike Turner, what an honor to have both of you guys. It's really been a gift. John, sending it back to you in New York.